Interrupt your regularly scheduled broadcast to bring you JNC's Wrestling with Nostalgia podcast. I am your host, co-host, JC. Let me introduce my host to co-host, Big Brother C. How you doing, bro?
I am doing fantastic, actually. Feeling courageous. How about you, brother?
I'm feeling very courageous. I'm feeling very fulfilled. We just got done watching the special that we've been waiting months for. Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog straight out of nowhere, and I'm happy. I'm happy. You know why I'm happy?
It was a damn good time.
It was a damn good time, and it was a lot of fun. A few things here and there, and we'll talk about it, that I was like, I could have done without that in here. But, man, I am so happy. I remember us talking about all the potential this special had and being like, man, I hope they don't mess this up. Like, I hope this thing is as good as it looks. And man, I had just, you had the same thoughts that I did when I called you. It was just a fun time. It was just a fun time.
It was actually pretty good. I mean, not pretty good. It was great what I'm talking about.
Without further ado, let's get into this special. Our special opens up with the Mystery Inc. gang, and they're rounding up a criminal who's been robbing a bank. He's dressed as a clown. Shaggy and Scooby are talking about this kind of new age, this kind of book they're using on their phones that helps them be more courageous and show more courage. When Scooby-Doo gets into a trance, he starts hearing this music that only he can hear, and it makes him take off and makes him run off. And what's funny, did you catch that this music that they're playing, the dun 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 dun, do you realize that that's like music from Courage?
Oh, yeah. I was like, it's always a montage where Courage is running or trying to rescue.
Yes! Oh, my, thank you. This is why we do. Willow didn't catch on to that, and I was like, dude, that's Courage. That's music from like hysterical moments of Courage, like dun 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 dun. Like, I loved that. I thought that was cool that they used that. But anyways, Courage ends up running off to nowhere. Scooby, excuse me. We're going right off the cuff, guys. We just watched this special. He just finished watching it, so pardon us if we mess up. We're probably going to be the first ones with a review out here. And it takes, basically, the trance brings Scooby to nowhere. He ends up at Courage's house, where Courage is, meanwhile, being tortured by the same hypnotic trance in the farmhouse. Our first scene is Courage trying to explain this to Eustace, who, the guy that voices Eustace in this, because both of his previous voice actors are, in fact, have passed on many years ago. What do you think of him, first off? I personally, he wasn't bad.
I'm not gonna bring hate to it. He actually did a pretty damn good job, actually.
He did a pretty decent job. I could clearly tell that wasn't like Eustace's original voice, but he did good. I think he did good. The only part that I don't think that if I'm gonna critique him at all, he needed to put more oomph in that ooga booga booga, and I feel like he didn't put enough oomph into that.
One to each their own.
We get the intro, which is pretty cool. It's like a kind of a circus intro with, me and you both had seen this a few weeks ago when it leaked out. A lot of cool Easter eggs and throwback, and just paying a lot of homage to Courage and their villains, and even older Scooby-Doo villains as well in the opening.
So homage to both Scooby-Doo and Courage the Cowardly Dog right there.
A lot of love. And love is a word that I use for this special a lot, because, man, they showed so much love to Courage the Cowardly Dog. And I'll say that first and foremost. They could have had those characters in here as a cheap cash grab using that license's name, had these characters in the background and Mystery Inc. in the forefront, and they didn't do that. The special really, hell, it felt more like a Courage the Cowardly Dog special guest starring Scooby-Doo more than it felt like a Scooby-Doo special guest starring Courage.
Hmm.
That's what's crazy to me, and I love that. I love all the love that they showed that show and its fans throughout this movie. So Mystery Inc. arrives at the farmhouse, and the farmhouse is attacked by these cicadas, these giant mutant cicadas that knocks the shit out of with a fucking mallet. They get in the farmhouse, they meet Muriel, they mute Eustace, and he has almost all the super funny scenes in this special.
They're probably paying tribute to Eustace as well.
Because Muriel tells Eustace to say hello to the Mystery Inc. gang, and they're just standing in their living room, which
silently staring in awkwardness.
Eustace doesn't say a word, and then he just lifts his paper up. And Courage, I love how Courage kind of does it, like, oh my god, and then he kind of leads them into the kitchen to meet Muriel, who's making Scottish cookies. And they interact with Muriel. Muriel stumps Daphne a few times with some riddles, which is a reoccurring joke in the special. They're then attacked by a cicada. What was that scene? Before that happens, there's that weird scene with that hairball that attacks Scooby and Courage. I thought that was funny because it's very Courage villainous, monstrous, randomly showing up.
Yeah, it was randomly showing up, but it's it clogged the sink. It was how did the hair get into the sink to begin with?
And Willow tried to tell me, she was like, oh, and I was like, I didn't think about that. But she's like, it's the wig that Eustace's mom wears.
Oh, damn. How did they get back in the house?
I don't know. I don't know. And when, getting more into it, they explain it more so later on. But I thought that was weird, but funny. It was funny to me.
I want to say funny. Probably a cheap, probably a lame attempt of an assassination just within the sink. And it failed. That's it.
I'd say you're right. After that, they get attacked by more cicadas, which leads them on before that happens, they receive a knock at the door with an invitation to show up at the mayor of Nowhere's house for dinner. And it's funny because even though there is a mayor of Nowhere and we've seen him in the series, it's not this guy. And I also love the long-running joke of Eustace being like, I didn't vote for him. He's one of the funniest parts of the special.
I mean, the thing is your typical old man literally says that just to get a wisecrack out of something.
When they go outside and Eustace sees their fucking hippie van, and he's like, just nope, I'm not riding in that.
See, you're typical, man.
Typical, he was in the war, he was in Vietnam or in World War II, and he's just like, dude, I just was waiting for him to damn bunch of hippies. As we continue, a cicada, Eustace just up and disappears. He got attacked by a cicada, I guess. And the cicada ends up GTA 5ing his truck with Courage.
That was a jump scare for me. I can't say GTA 5. It's more like it ghosted and just appeared out of fucking nowhere.
Well, like I told you on the phone before we started, it didn't scare me just because I had seen the clip a couple days ago they posted it on YouTube. But I could see why if you hadn't, it could have been a jump scare. The way they did it was really clever, how they cut. But he steals the car, and then we go on this crazy, absurd car chase between Muriel and Mystery Inc. in the truck and the Cicada and Courage and Scooby and Eustace's truck. And I got a question for you because I haven't
Yeah.
watched a lot more modern Scooby-Doo films.
Yeah.
When the fuck did the Mystery Machine turn into the goddamn Batmobile?
Actually, that also took me by surprise.
It had fucking nitrous and fucking a grappling hook. And I'm like, dude, when did the Mystery Machine turn into a Batmobile, bro? Like, what movie did that happen?
Can't say much of a movie. Probably during the Hour special back in the 1967, or Guess Who Scooby-Doo when he beat up with Batman again.
I think that's maybe so. Maybe it is for when they met up with him again, like a year ago. I think it's a more modern thing they did. I didn't really like it. Like I was like, like I don't know. Maybe it's a more modern thing. It's not the Scooby Doo I remember, but
only thing I can say was grappling hook. The gravity falls it. That's all I can say.
when they shot up the nitrous, I was like, all right, whatever, I'll let it be. And then, so they get into like an absurd car chase. The Locust just peels out and is like, peace. Courage and Scooby almost die. But they are saved the last second. Eustace randomly pops up, and then that made Willow laugh a lot because it's like, where the hell did he come from? Did he just walk? And I was like, knowing Eustace is
right?
He was probably walked the whole way. He's like, gotta get me my truck.
Like, where's my truck? Blah blah blah.
And he Michael Myers pops up next to them, and he wasn't who his truck is. And there's a funny bit where his truck falls off the mountain and it hits a spike, and Shaggy's like, I'm sure it's okay, and then it fucking explodes, and that got me. I laughed a lot at that. So they make it to the mansion, and they get inside, and they meet the mayor, and he's kind of already fishy. He's explaining how nowhere is made it seem like nowhere is really well known, that the people in that town know that things are off and there's something going on and there's something up front. And there's always weird occurrences, and again, more Easter eggs. Did you notice the screaming piano girl from Courage in the Big Stinking City on one of the pictures?
Yes.
Dude, there's so many. Every picture in that mansion is of Courage, someone or something from Courage.
That's he'd been collecting for a while. It's is this a whole gang of villains ready for revenge, or just one person plotting?
And see, that's what I thought. I was like, okay, so is it going to be just a group of villains Ball of Revenge again? Because and you can put me on record. Did I or did I not say when this trailer came out? And we'll get to the villains later. Did I not call who the villains ended up being in this special?
Yes, you did.
And I'm glad I did. And we'll talk about that more in a bit. But basically, they go to have dinner. They are then told by the mayor about this whole kind of area that's like a museum dedicated to all the weird stuff in Nowhere. And you get some really cool Easter eggs, like the mask from The Mask. You get Courage blocking up the door from Cicadas, and he uses did you see him where he had the demon in the mattress?
Yes, I did. A little green thing brings back memories.
That made me pop. I like that. Meanwhile, Mystery Inc. and Muriel kind of watch this documentary, and we get our first cameo of the movie. And go ahead and tell me who that cameo is.
That person would be that news anchor, to which I thought I didn't discuss it with you until after I finished. I thought he was going to be the person that'd be at the end causing all this trouble.
I did too, and I thought it would be really cool. And it's same voice actor, which was also awesome to hear. The Nowhere newscaster again, and he's explaining all the mysteries of Nowhere and things that happen during this. They pull a lever in the mansion, which sends them down in a tunnel, and they find the device that has been causing these has been causing this hypnotic waves and Courage and Scooby from the start of the special. It's also like getting people from all over the world to bring their treasures and their goods and their belongings to the Bags farmhouse in a funny scene where like Eustace's dream comes true. He's back at the farmhouse and people are like bringing him diamonds and gold and bags of money and he's just like, "Oh, thank you. Oh, you shouldn't have."
Hold on. I know I shouldn't even say this, for even though we're that close towards the end. But did you notice how the Scooby-Doo Mystery Corporation did not actually jail the person, the clown, in the very beginning?
Yeah, at the very beginning they didn't jail him and he like left with the money. He just got away.
That was the first time I was like, did they finally drop the ball?
Like 100%. But he gets his comeuppance because he shows up at the farmhouse and Eustace bitches him out. He's like, "What am I going to do with this money? Why isn't it diamonds? Why isn't it gold?" We then get the first real, like, range of the special. It's just out of character, not funny. It's just was like, why? What is happening? My soul hurts. Eustace gets a rap number. And while it was, I will say, it was, I guess, funny in a cringe way to see Eustace rapping and dancing, it was definitely put in there for little kids. It was definitely put in there. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan.
It was just there for the younger viewers. I did get a little chuckle, but after a while, it's like, nah, this is kind of out of character, even for Eustace.
Super out of character. Eustace wouldn't even know what rap music was.
You're right.
Shaggy, like hippie, like he wouldn't know.
You're right. You're dead on set right. He wouldn't know because he didn't even go in the mystery machine. That's like, I ain't going in the thing with hippies. It's the same thing with that of the politicians. Shoot.
Anyways, Courage and the gang are on their way back to the farmhouse. They get attacked by the cicadas again. Muriel, all of Mystery Inc. gets kidnapped, and it's funny. Shaggy gets kidnapped after giving this big, huge speech about courage. So, not the dog, but like as in courage and like general, being courageous. So they go back. Now. So they go back to the farmhouse, and I'm happy and I'm sad. My favorite cameo of the whole movie. The computer. Courage's computer.
Yes.
I'm sad because it wasn't the same voice actor, and their smugness was not here for this voice actor. The computer is such a smug, like, dick in the series, and that's what makes it so great. I feel like it was too polite here and, like, too nice.
It's probably because of the tablet.
Probably. And it was weird. They started flirting, like Velma's tablet and the computer started flirting with each other. And it was funny though. Like it was funny, but it was like really weird. It was really like a weird scene and a weird moment. So Courage and Scooby basically find out with what's going on here, and we're getting into spoiler territory from here on out. So if you don't want to be spoiled on anything big in this special, stop watching now. Don't blame me if you keep watching.
3, 2, 1.
We find out that the cause of the I keep calling them locusts, the cicadas, and basically the cause for all the other shit in Nowhere in the entire Courage series, like everything.
And we mean everything.
Is caused by a meteor. The meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs crashed to Earth, landed in the spot millions of years ago where the Bags' home is. And it's been causing, it's basically, it brings all this evil and paranormal and dark stuff to the Bags' home. Like, it is what a lot of people have always been like, how that home or something about that home, like, it absorbs dark energy. That's because there is a meteor that contains dark energy from space, and it's in the ground, buried under the bag's home.
Dark matter, actually.
Dark matter, my bad, dark matter, which is cool. I like this. I like this as a plot point. I
And
think
it makes so much sense.
it does. It does. And it is cool to think that that all that stuff happens at Courage's house just because. But like, for it to be explained, I don't think they could have done a better way of explaining it. I think that was a really cool way to say, hey, this is why all this happens. And it's really a wrap up to the series, because in the ending the meteor, it does get taken away. So it's really a wrap up to the series, because that means there's not going to be any more. Courage can finally have a happy ending. So anyways, they discover this. Scooby and Courage dig. They go all the way underground. They get the meteor. They come back up. They end up finding Mystery Inc. and Muriel trapped down in this and underground as well, and the cicadas' hideouts. So they rescue them. There's a huge chase scene with the cicadas and Scooby in them that ends with Mystery Inc. being trapped. They can't help out, and it's Courage and Muriel facing off with the Queen Cicada, who uses the meteor to transform, and we get what was so cool. We get a kaiju fight.
Make my courage grow!
Full kaiju battle. The cicada grows to be like 20 feet tall. Courage uses the meteor to transform into 20 feet tall as well. And he starts whooping the cicada's ass for a good minute. The cicada does end up beating Courage into the ground. And I got a little worried. And I'm like, they're not going to do nothing like that. When Courage let go of the meteor, I thought they might pull a he died type thing. It was definitely a fake out, and Muriel ends up grabbing the meteor, using it against the Queen Cicada. Courage comes back too. He shrinks back down to normal size. The cicada is still huge. Courage grabs the meteor. The cicada chases him through the windmill at the bag's home. And at this point, the whole, the stability of that area is just gone. Everything is levitating, everything is floating, everything around has been destroyed. It's a really cool final battle type sequence. Courage manages to use the meteor to stop the Queen Cicada. And he grabs it, he destroys her height, brings her back down to a small height, and then brings all of the windmill down on top of it, basically crushing her. He then
It was a cage before it crushed her.
You said what?
It was a cage. It was a good definition of cage.
And then it crushed. And Courage, the entire time when he's in the windmill, he goes, he keeps going back to what was said throughout the special about having courage, being courageous. And a really cool moment where he's like, I am courage. I am courageous. And also a cool moment where Muriel risks her life to save Courage, which that was really touching as well. And really put even more emphasis on the bond that those two have throughout the entire series.
Amen.
I loved that. I love that the entire final act, like I said earlier, this could have been a cash grab. This could have been a Courage and his family in the background and Mystery Inc. in the forefront, and it wasn't. This special was more like a Courage and Cowardly Dog special, a love letter to the fans and the Scooby-Doo gang in the background, because so much time and storyline and character development was given to Courage, Muriel, Eustace, the Bags, and I loved that. I loved it. So to wrap it up, and in typical Mystery Inc. fashion, they go to unmask the cicada. And when they do, it's revealed to be the mayor. the mayor of nowhere.
Yeah, the mayor of nowhere. But there's that twist. Let's see who you really are. We found out that, as he called it,
the mayor is revealed to be the Quack and motherfucking Cats. The two biggest OG Courage villains from the entire series teamed up to do all this. And if you really look at it, the signs are all there. I called it months ago, as he said, but whether you believe me or not. I said, what if all this whole plot is a plan by Cats and the Quack teaming up to either get back at Courage or to get control? And I even continue these suspicions while watching, because when all the money and everything was getting brought to the Bag's house, I was like, okay, two characters that are obsessed with being rich and having power are the Quacks and Cack. They have to be in the. They've mentioned them way too much to not at least see them. And what's awesome is they were voiced by their OG voice actors as well. And it was so good to hear Katz's sophisticated voice again, dude. Like, he looked good. The Quack looked good. They revealed that their plan, they basically they had gotten into power as a fake mayor of nowhere to get a hold of the records of nowhere to find out why all this supernatural stuff happens in nowhere and take control of that, use that as power for themselves. And they had located that it was at Courage's house, so they had planned this entire scheme to get the meteor and use it to make themselves wealthy, famous, and powerful. While this is in a funny scene, Fred doesn't believe that LaQuats, that's their team name, LaQuats.
I dig that.
The Quack and Cats aren't like a real duck and a real cat, and he like grabs Cat's head and almost like fucking Mortal Kombat rips his head off, like trying to take his mask off. And he's like, "No, I'm real. I'm really a cat." So then, on top of that, the two the creepy butler and cook from the mansion, who we forgot to mention, their parts are minor. They're just kind of around, and they're like really creepy, and they keep coming around while they're in the mansion.
Get that.
In a twist that I didn't even see coming, but the second the cook started talking a certain way, I was like, wait a minute, that is not who I think it is. And that revealed to be, my man,
Colonel and the General.
Yes. The two military responsible for like a lot of the problems in nowhere are revealed that they have been spying on Cats and the Quack, but not just spying on them. They were spying on them so that they could find the meteor, so that they could use it as a weapon. So that was an awesome, like, unexpected little twist, and I loved that. I thought that was so cool. They go to lock LaQuack and Cats up, but before they do, Courage takes the meteor and he uses it as a disco ball in the house, and the special just ends with all in a really random. I'm not gonna lie though, it was funny. It was funny and lighthearted, and I liked it. Because the disco ball can control people when it's levitating and spinning and can force you to dance or do other things. All the characters have a giant like disco party in the living room, and we get our own little parts here and there between Velma and Shaggy. And then we get an awesome moment between Muriel, Scooby, and Courage. Eustace comes downstairs and sees that all of his money's gone and starts complaining while he's being forced to dance. He's like, I don't want to dance. I want my money. So and that's what I wanted. I remember looking over it with him like, God, before this special wraps up, I have to see Eustace crying about losing all his fortune.
I was waiting for that.
They can't not do it. They have to. Like, that's Eustace's character. Every time he gets ahead, it gets taken away from him because he's a sleazeball.
Right.
In the final scene of the special, we get Courage in Muriel's arms, telling us, have a good night. Thanks for coming, which was very heartwarming, very loving way. And if we never see Muriel, Courage, and the gang again, the final episode of Courage was such it never felt like a send off. It always felt like there are going to be more episodes. This ending felt like a send off. It felt like if we never see any more new material, then it's okay. I loved it, man. Great ending to the special. Out of 5 stars, I give it 4. I don't give it a full 5 just because, like I said, the spot we used to scrapping, I wasn't a fan of. I didn't think it fit in the special. It didn't fit in the special at all to me, but it especially didn't fit in being Eustace. It was very out of character and very cringy. I didn't like the fart jokes. I get it's a kids movie and kids will laugh at that. I thought it was stupid. Oh yeah, and then that one spot where Muriel just has courage snacks. Like there's a spot where they do a forced kind of joke where it's like, oh, you have Scooby snacks. Well, I make homemade courage snacks, and she pulls out a jar with Courage's face on it. It's like courage snacks. I'm like, that has never been in the series. Not a moment, never mentioned, nothing. And that felt very cheesy, just out of place to me.
I,
Um,
I mean, yeah, I do have to agree with you with that because I will say it was a good touch because Muriel loves Courage and Courage loves Muriel. I'll give it 4 stars out of 5. I feel like Courage not only just took on the final boss with his name, I feel like he also easily enjoyed the company of the Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc.
he seemed more happy than he's ever been being around Scooby and Shaggy and them, especially
Oh
Scooby.
yeah,
I love the dynamic of those three. To me, Courage smiled more in this hour and a half special than he had in the entire series, and that made me happy. And overall, I had a lot of fun, and I highly recommend checking this out. If you have kids, I'm going to be showing it to my little boy tomorrow. If you don't have kids, or if you're just a fan of Courage growing up and a fan of that series, watch this special. And I really feel like you're going to walk away just happy, just feeling good. You may not like that it's not as dark as the series was, but just seeing these characters again and this kind of just all this love and this just outwarming, like great stuff that they did for Courage in this special, I think you will thoroughly enjoy it. Your final thoughts,
okay.
see?
I'm gonna enjoy this last cup of tea for Miss Tia White. All I can say is, if you enjoy this, and if you're a fan of Courage or even Scooby Doo, especially if you're longtime fans, go watch this. It's great. If you're new to this, and you don't know much about Courage the Cowardly Dog, go go to the Boomerang app, hook it up, watch some Courage the Cowardly Dog, and have a ball.
Hell, if you don't want to download the Boomerang app, go to Walmart. The entire series is in Walmart for like $20. Just drop a 20 spot on it and watch it. Hell, you can even find I'm pretty positive you can find the episodes online for free to watch. Like it's that good of a series that still holds up.
Mm-hmm.
With that
But
being said,
y'all have a good night.
and
Ooh.
things I do for peace.
Peace, y'all.